What's up, everybody? It's your favorite Proper Deco's favorite nerd, and today we are looking at the Modfans Masterpiece Roller with the more traditional colors. A lot of folks in the comments left information for me that the Proper Deco was in the works and had been announced, and thanks to Jordan W, we now had the opportunity to look at that as well. We're also going to go from alt mode to robot mode transformation-wise here, because in the gray one we went from robot mode to alt mode, so both routes of transformation are now covered on my channel, which makes it worthwhile doing, to be honest. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get started, but in order to start, we got to start with accessories. So just like his silver counterpart, he comes with the two different pistols that can combine, and all of those can be held, including when combined, or broken down and stored on his back. And all those weapons can store in alt mode as well. You also get the rubber hose that, once again, is not covered in the instructions, and you guys tore me apart in the comments on the last one about, like, how could you miss the nod to G1? And, like, who says I missed the nod to G1? I just don't know how to necessarily incorporate it into this figure. But some folks did have the idea to combine both guns with it, and that does work, but the hose is a little short, so it kind of doesn't always look the greatest if you're going to have them plugged into both guns while using both guns at the same time. However, it works a lot better if you keep one stored in his backpack and kind of use the other one. I kind of wish, actually, you know what, let me see if I can, maybe if we lift that up, like that looks a bit better, but you got to undo the backpack a bit. So, yeah, I don't know. That's all I got. Let me know if there's another idea you guys got, and if there's a third repaint of this, maybe I can show you then. And there's the alt mode. Rolls, you know, thus the name. We have a lot of the deco that comes through, the translucent little light there, the black on top of the blue, not quite as vibrant because of the dark blue, but the yellow and white and translucent red really do pop on the dark blue, as do the white exhaust ports in the back. Same sort of silver paint with the red line work around. You know, I think this is well done. I think it does the part. And I think that the blue is a really, I mean, I'm probably going to talk about the blue 1,000 times in this review just because it's exactly what I want from a paint deco and a Masterpiece line. Let me show you a couple things. Let me show you what it looks like next to Masterpiece Tiger Tracks, for one. So a pretty decent size. And even though we showed it with the previous mold, let me just go ahead and show you once again that it will fit. This is MP10's trailer, but I'm guessing it'll fit in most. All right, so let's go ahead and handle the transformation. So the first thing you want to do is kind of open up these flaps here. There's two different flaps, two different hinges. And then that will allow you to pull these away. As you do so, take a little bit of care with these front pieces here and just make sure they get out of the way so that they don't bang up against the kind of white legs as you're rotating them down. And then you can kind of set them up against it. You can separate your legs as well, if you'd like, so to speak. Open this up here, it double hinges down, or you can keep it up if you want something to look a little different. That's up to you, that's a preference thing. Down. And then we have the tires. So two of them just rotate in. The bottom two have to rotate up and then rotate in. So bottom two, both sides, rotate up and then rotate in. And then you have the heel spur here on the bottom, which I will get a tool to make sure that I get out. All right. Done and done. Now we have the upper body. This is where some of the tolerance issues are. That remains an issue. You got to clear this backpack piece. You really have to just pull the plastic against itself in order to do so. Then you have to pull these pieces out away from the shoulders. Then you can open this up. You have to release the shoulders from these pegs on the side of the backpack and then rotate them out on that swivel connected to the shoulder. Rotate this around. This little piece may have folded in. It may not have. If it hasn't, just fold it in. The wheel turns around to the back. Similarly to the shoulder piece, this may have already flipped over. If it hasn't, just flip it over and then flip this down. Rotate the bicep. Open up your little flap here. You'll find that it has a tendency to do so naturally. Open up the hands, and then you can close this behind it. We'll do the same on the other side. Spin out, rotate, the shoulder piece comes down, The tire moves to the back. The elbows come down. That little flap will open up probably on its own. Flip the hand out. Close that back up. Flip this down. Flip that down. And then you just have the backpack pieces. So these come up and around. You can kind of get this backpack out of the way if you so desire. And your flank piece here will rotate up. And then that will encompass all of that, or encapsulate rather. Same for this side. Voila. And then double hinge your backpack down, plug it up against the back, take this piece if it's still up and rotate it down. I'll clean them up and we'll take a look at them. So obviously a lot of this is going to be, you know, repetitive from the last one, but we'll talk about it as we go through regardless. Once again, I'm not crazy about the head sculpt, but I do feel like this one works a little bit better because there's not as much like, there's more contrast between colors, between the light blue, the dark blue, and the white. So I do feel like that looks a bit better. The head is on a ball peg. You get limited up, limited down, left and right, and a little bit of a tilt. So that's good. We'll back out a little bit. Look at the arms. Very beautiful blue. God. It makes me wish that this was how the Fans Toy Soundwave was painted. You know, with this style. The old school Fans Toy style of paint. That they do still use from time to time, but I wish they would have used it then. You get up to there, which is limited, you know, as it was in the last one. You get 360 around. You get a little bit of a butterfly on the ball peg. You know. I don't know. Red paint looks good as well. Double jointed elbow for the full run. You can transform it now if you'd like. Bicep swivel at a cut joint. The wrist, you get up, down, and you get a swivel. Same for the other side. We'll back out a little bit more. The waist, you get a waist swivel. You get a teapot. You get the slightest bit of an ab crunch forward and back. You also get the blue paint and the silver paint, as well as the red paint, which looks good too. Alright, that pearlescent paint looks good as well with the yellow accents on the pelvis. You have the hip skirts. We'll get those up and out of the way. For our universal joints, oh, look at the hip skirts out here, out of the way as well. For the full Van Damme and the full Monty. Thigh swivel at the universal, that looks good. We have the knees ratcheted, get you a little bit past 90 degrees. No issues there. Once again, that blue looks magnificent. We have some black accents on top. We have the some of the card details that come through. All of it works well. Ankles, you get a toe tilt down. You get an ankle, maybe the slightest bit of an ankle tilt up, and then you get the slightest bit of a rocker. Once again, the wheels are painted just like the other one, and they look good as well. And there he is from the back. Let's do some size comparisons. Size comparison wise, there he is with the Magic Square Prime, and I gotta admit they do look good together, you know, as like a set. I do think that that's a pretty good look. I don't really have a whole lot of interest in buying this, but if I was at all tempted, it would be right now at this stage. Final thoughts wise, we'll start with the negatives. Once again, the outward shoulder movement is really a bummer, just in terms of limitation, and you also find yourself wanting more from the ankle rocker as well. The blue paint really pops and looks beautiful. The red paint, there's something that must be tricky about that red metallic paint, but it's really hard to pull off, and the red paint doesn't hold the same caliber of emphasis and pronunciation as the blue or the pearlescent white paint does. Transformation wise, there's still a few tolerance issues and clearance issues in the transformation that were there before. Little stuff like having to pull plastic against plastic to get a couple of those things clipped in at the rear of the vehicle. In the same breath, the flaps on the forearms still are a bit loose. So just little fit and finish things like that. Things that we should expect with the second release of the mold because it was present with the first. Positives wise, a lot of the same things ring true. Sometimes even better. For instance, the paint pops even more because of the kind of loud, vibrant colors. The materials still feel great. Love the ratchets in the knees. With the exception of the ankles and the shoulders, the majority of the articulation works across the board. Decent sculpt work, particularly interesting in the lower legs. Once again, the transformation is pretty smooth all the way through, and I think the alt mode looks great. I think it has a lot of character. I actually think that this has a lot of love in it. It's one of the better pieces that I've looked at, to be honest, throughout throughout the year. I'm really kind of taken back by it. So I wish this company a lot of success, and I'll be watching them pretty closely if they continue doing it. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.